Thanks, Kathy. Hi, I'm Carlo Fuda. I am from Recap Mason Jars. We're Mason Jars Company. It's a startup here in Erie. And anyone not familiar with Recap? Does anyone not know what it is? Oh, it's this, as you probably know. It's a cap invented by Karen Rezpecki, who is in Hershey today, hopefully and perhaps accepting a Governor's Impact Award. So, yay, go Karen. So she invented this cap. She was looking for a solution to make salad dressing. It was really messy. Traditional band and lid on a mason jar. You're shaking up your dressing. It's spilling. So she tried to look for one. She couldn't find it. So she invented one. I started with Karen a little over a year ago. I had moved back to Pennsylvania to be closer to family. I was working with Philips North America in Connecticut, Sonicare, Norelco, Avent, and Saeco. They make coffee too. So doing all that fun stuff, marketing and all kinds of great stuff with Philips. And then I got on a TV show called the American Baking Competition, so I was also on TV with a celebrity. Jeff Foxworthy was the host. I was the first eliminated, but I kind of knew that. Don't tell anyone. Don't film that. I'm kidding. But it was really fun, and then after that I was like, I'm going to go home, and I want to find a job where I can actually have my own strategic partnership. I wanted to find a career in Erie that would kind of be a hybrid between food and fun, and something related to food because I'm a foodie, I love to cook, I love food, I'm Italian, and then also something that was related that I could use my business expertise and professional background in, and I came upon that when I met Karen and started working for Recap. So it's been a crazy year, almost a year and a half that I've been with Recap, and it's changed dramatically. And one of the things that has really propelled us into the new year are strategic partnerships. We've worked on a lot over the past year. We've had so many, and when I was thinking about what I was going to talk about for this Win-Win Strategic Alliances presentation, I thought of our first and foremost and our big ticket one, our national partnership with Classico. And I'll get to more on that later. But then after I started thinking about Classico, I was like, wow, we really partner with a lot of different people. And we really have different kinds of partnerships. So this was actually an opportunity for us to sit down as a company and start saying, like, wow, we really are being strategic, and we have different ways of partnering with people. And they have to be win-win, and they have to be mutually beneficial. Otherwise, it's not a partnership, and it's not going to work. So with that said, what do strategic partnerships even do? Like, what's the point? They allow brands an opportunity to improve your initiatives, to improve your overall business plan, influence your sales, your marketing goals in mutually beneficial ways. It's usually between two marketing teams, ultimately. You're going to increase your brand awareness. These are some of your objectives. Reach new markets, new audiences, new demographics, and gain access maybe to a specific channel or a product or a service. So pretty simple. So I'm going to go through kind of our steps in terms of what we've done over the past year to land some of these strategic partnerships, as well as where we're looking, because it's a two-way street. Sometimes you're approached, and sometimes you also have to be proactive and approach others. But the whole the meat behind it is your strategy and planning. You need to sit down as a company and think, what kinds of strategic partnerships do you want? Do you want it to be about a product? Do you want it to be about your company culture? Do you want it to be about a marketing campaign? There are many different kinds. You aren't limited to one partnership either. We don't have any exclusive partnerships at this moment. We don't want to do that. We want to share the love and spread the wealth and kind of leverage the different places, products, and companies that make sense with us. You kind of need to look at what do you want to do for your business plan. Over the past year, Karen hired me on to really develop our content and to bring marketing to the forefront of this product. And that's what I've done over the past year. So we really focused on content, and that's very scary because content is very expensive. Whether you're sending out e-communications, or you're developing your website, or you're working on assets and graphics and design and et cetera, can be very expensive. But when you focus on content, it's kind of like getting ready to go out. Like that's your outfit, that's your look, that's whatever, that's your best foot forward. So it's very wise to invest in content, because otherwise when people come to you, if you don't have that presence, they're not going to know what you're about. And you're vetted, you're constantly vetted in these spaces, especially when you're online. Especially, we've had mentions maybe with different bloggers or different magazines. So that draws attention and that draws people to you, and then you're completely analyzed from head to toe, which is what happened to us, and it went really well, as is the case with Classico. So strategy and planning, work on that benchmark is a huge part of that. What are other people doing? What are other partnerships between products? I remember it was last year, before the holiday season, and I was in the store, and I'm a baker. I was on a baking show, even though I was the first eliminated. And I bought cookies that were already pre-made, but it was a combo between like Hershey and Pillsbury. And I was like, wow, what a great, it's almost seamless the way they did their partnership and their co-branding. So look for examples, benchmark, and work on your content. So that's all part of your strategy and planning, and identify what you want. The next step is identifying prospective partnerships. Not everyone is going to be a great partner. I hear this all the time where people are like, oh my God, mason jars, I love them. I use them for this. You should do this. You should do that. Sometimes there's great ideas. I love to hear all ideas, all of them. But some of them don't make sense. And I have a lot of them myself in my own head from 8 to 5 every day. I have very good friends that work with Pepperidge Farm. So we're always putting goldfishies in the jar, the little crackers, because they look so great. They're bright orange, and you can put different caps. And then I called my friend at Pepperidge Farm, and I was like, Brian, I was like, we should do some kind of co-promotional campaign with fishies and recap and mason jars. And he's like, well, we really like our packaging, and the fish do really well in there. So he wasn't really interested, because it didn't make sense. They work really hard on their packaging. They don't want consumers to take their fishies out of their beautiful packaging where they have all their information and all of their websites and all of their ingredients and nutritional information and all of this stuff that they have teams of many people to work on, to put into a clear glass jar. There is a customer demographic that does want to do that. They don't want to keep things in plastic or in packaging. So that isn't a strategic alliance. That is something else. That is marketing to people who maybe don't want to store in plastic, who don't want to use the original packaging that products came in, or maybe they, whatever their reason might be. Another example where I kind of started working on it last year. Our cap, our beautiful little cap right here, fits Peter Pan peanut butter jars, which are plastic. So we were like, wow, what a great alternative for children, because you don't want to really give children glass, but what a great alternative to a glass jar, fits ours, and then we want to definitely reinstill that message of reuse, repurpose, of taking a peanut butter jar that you're ultimately going to recycle or throw away, hopefully not throw away, and you can repurpose it. We have a children-specific cap that's coming out later this year that'll be perfect for that. So I've been prospecting Peter Pan peanut butter. We've been trying to get in touch with them. I spoke to some people. You go back and forth, you do all this. And lately, we've been like, that might not be the best fit for us. Like, Peter Pan is great, their peanut butter is awesome, but maybe there's a peanut butter company that has their product in a mason jar that might be better aligned with our company culture. So that's part of the identifying your prospective partnerships is, where do your company cultures match? If it's antagonistic, it's not going to work. You have to kind of have some common thread that connects you to. So now we've started looking at Justin's. It's a very healthy-ish, organic, natural, it's kind of startup peanut butter that's really starting to spread. So we're going to get in touch with them, and everything can start with an email, a Facebook message, whatever. It totally happens that way. So you want to find things that make sense. Also, when you're identifying your prospective partnerships, you want to find things that will benefit your customers. If there's no value, then don't waste your time, don't waste anyone's time. There has to be a value. So, and I'll touch upon that more with Classico, because it's like an A-class example. So when I was talking about company culture and matching that too, you want to match brand tonality. So there's a company out there, I forgot to throw a slide in on it. Great company, they make awesome products. They make koozies for mason jars, for beer bottles, and they're called Freakers. The guy was on Shark Tank a number of years ago. It's called Freakers, and with all due respect, I'm a freak myself, I have tattoos and all that, but he's a freak. So he's super cool. His brand messaging and his commercials and assets, they all resonate with me. I love it. They have like a lot of tattooed people. He's in his underwear. He's drinking beer. I'm like, this is awesome, so cool. not really what we want for a recap or for Mason Jar's company. You know, that's not really our tone. That's not our voice. So to bring those two together, it might almost be an odd couple. Maybe you luck out and that's a gold mine. That could happen, but it's not where we want to put our efforts, you know, and put our resources. So we want to find companies that match our tonality. We love them. We talk to them, but we would more than ever likely partner with them on anything because it's just so so diverse. So the other thing is ideal products. You know, does your company's product work with or complement another product? And it has to make sense. The Goldfishies example is a good example. When I worked at Philips, one of the more successful campaigns that I worked on was a Norelco and Axe. So, and I'll tell you why that was successful and why there was a lot of strategy behind it. So Norelco is men's shavers. Axe is like body washes and different grooming products. So Norelco traditionally has always had a much older demographic, like 55 plus. That's the demographic for Norelco. So that's our retain group, you know. And then there was always the recruit group, which is young men, teens that are starting to shave. How do we get them on some of this electronic shaving, on these electronic shaving products? And that was essentially the origin of that idea between Axe and Norelco, because young guys are buying Axe, but they're not buying Norelco, and it was very successful. We were able to recruit a whole new segment and a whole new audience, and that was with Unilever. So made a lot of sense is the point. The other thing is, and then the other thing with our product, you know, like people are always like, oh, I have jelly in my Mason jar. This is a pour cap. This is never going to get your jelly out, ever. I will go on record saying that, like, it'll never come out. But the good news is we have a new product coming out in a few weeks that's a flip cap, so the whole thing flips open, and that's perfect for jelly. So it just has to make sense. Responsibility and accountability. You want to work with people that will meet expectations, that will deliver the promises and goals and reach milestones. So that's important. You know, you want to trust whoever you're working with. Also, you want to think about, is the amount of time and the amount of your resources going to get you something, either a sales lift or an increase in visibility and awareness that is significant, that it causes a sales lift ultimately. So you have to think about that, and it's not to say like, oh well, you know, you work with you have an email list of 10 people, we don't want to work with you. It's not because it's, you know, we're poo-pooing it. It has to match your resources. So that goes into reach and visibility. So with Classico, they have a newsletter that goes out to about 800,000 people, and that'll be going out at the end of this month. So we're really excited for that. We're hoping to see an immediate and dramatic sales lift just from that communication. Our database is probably a little bit over 20,000 for our CRM database. So it's, you know, non-comparable. So we're really excited about that. Then finally, you know, you just got to get started. Send an email, send a Facebook message, find what makes sense for local businesses. What makes sense locally? You know, like we're always excited and to do things with local businesses as well. So what makes sense? Reach out. Don't wait. And then let's see, and that's it. So next, the types of strategic partnerships. So co-promotion, and I'll go through an example of each of these, but co-promotion is utilizing two marketing resources to promote multiple brands to a shared audience. Co-branding is combining two or more brands or two different products to make one either bundle or a new product. Content sharing, creating and using content that highlights two or more brands. That's a definite win-win because content, like I said earlier, is expensive, it's time-consuming, all this stuff. And then community alliance, you know, teaming up to either to not only promote your brand, but also to raise awareness within your community for a specific cause. So the first one is our big co-promotional partnership with Classico. This is an example of the importance of content and a clear brand voice. The reason I say that is because we invested so much in our content over the past year, and when we first met with Classico in our live meeting, they told us, they shared so much with us, which was very helpful. They said, we found you through searches and through Pinterest, and we saw people pinning your stuff and pinning your pins, and we were always, anytime we were like looking at Mason Jar keywords, et cetera, you guys were always infiltrating in one space or another, whether it was social or or whatever. So they came to our site, they completely vetted us, they looked at us from top to bottom. And Classico is one of the few jarred commercially available sauces that's actually in a mason jar. So not all glass jars are mason jars. A mason jar is a specific size, continuous thread in 2 different sizes, and they're standard. So that's why our caps will fit ball jars, Kerr jars, Quattro Stagioni jars, Atlas jars, which are the Classico jars. But there aren't many sauces in actual mason jars. So it was like a perfect fit. It was just a dream come true. It benefits consumers, it benefits the environment, and it benefits mutually our brands. It benefits consumers because they have this jar, they use the sauce, maybe they don't want to use it all in one night, they can recap it, easily store it, pour, shake, whatever. When it's done, they can use it. This is my water bottle, this is my actual water bottle. I use it every day, and I have this fancy camo cozy that is, I don't even know who it's made from, someone that just reached out, potential partner in the future, covers, but I love camo, so that's why it's my everyday water bottle. But that's what you can do with it, or you can make dressing, or you can do all these different things. So we had a purpose, we had value to our customers. Some examples of where we have on our end of this partnership, where we've created some content specific for the partnership. And we have social media, so we have been posting. We have an active editorial calendar talking about the different uses of Recap with Classico, how to take their jar. We made some video tutorials on how to remove the label. One's a very, very difficult method. You soak them underwater. The other method is oil and baking soda. Then our newsletter, which is called the 1858, not nearly the reach that their audience is, so we're really excited about that part. But on the Classico side, some of the benefits that they have with working with us is they get to have that cred of saying, hey, we work with a startup, we work with this product that is made in the USA, we work with this product that promotes sustainability and environmental responsibility. So that's all kind of like bragging rights for them. And for us, we're like, we're so little, can we please talk to all of your 800,000 people? So there's a lot of win-win there, and you have to have that mutual benefit between the two companies. And then we have a page actually dedicated to the partnership, and it kind of summarizes everything and has recipes, and they kind of handle the recipes with sauce, and we kind of handle tips and tricks on how to use the jar after you're done eating. So that's pretty much Classico. I think that's all I had about them. We launched officially on Earth Day, so it's still early. We're going to be doing a sweepstakes contest in the fall. We have 3 blogger programs with them, and they're kind of managing all of that, and then they come to us for input. It's super ideal. So, and again, the way they noticed us was through our pages and our content. The next example is co-branding. So this is essentially she's essentially a wholesale partner, and when Karen first came out with the cap, Nicole, who has a startup company as well called Farm Curious, she reached out to Karen, and she was like, hey, I'm really into fermenting, like veggies, carrots, things like that. And she's like, and I can use your cap to create a fermenting kit on mason jars, which is really convenient for those who ferment, because then you can just leave your carrots or whatever in the jar after you're done fermenting. So she essentially added a bung, an airlock to our cap. You screw it on, she has instructions and everything. And Karen was on board because fermenting is really good for you. You get a lot of benefits from eating it. But part of the relationship, Karen was like, yeah, let's agree on placement of my logo. Let's, I want to make sure you're not going to do something crazy with it that would damage my brand image. But ultimately, it's 2 different audiences. The fermenting audience is a very niche set of people. They're fermenters. They want to ferment at home. And we have a very varied demographic set. So it could be, people who are environmentally conscious, maybe some fermenters, whatever. So it's really a non-competitive relationship. On the contrary, it drives sales for both. So as she's selling her kit with our caps, she's ordering caps from us. She's putting her label on it, has our brand and our logo on it. So it's really well represented in the final product. And these are projections. In 2014, She purchased a little over 8,000 caps, and in 2015, her projections, which we've just gone over, are looking to double. So she works through a distributor network where she distributes the fermenting kits, and then she also does classes. She makes cheese. She does all this crazy, awesome stuff. So she sells it at her classes online, etc. So great relationship, and she's a pleasure to work with. And then other things will come out of it. We're going to be doing a video with Nicole where we're going to do like a live podcast. So follow us on Facebook, and you'll be privy to all this information. And this will be in the summer where she's going to teach me, because I've ruined so many things trying to ferment. It was really gross. So she has to show me like what to do, and we're going to do like a live podcast and she's in California, so she's in Oakland. So right now, as we speak, Annalita and Tom are speaking about Recap. I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe. But I'm going to talk about them. So they were sitting here earlier, and they are absolutely awesome. Annalita is so talented. We met Tom actually at Red Hat Digital Salon Night. It was the first time I ever met Tom, which was like over a year ago. And we just started talking about food and traveling and blah, 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 blah. And they have this awesome site. And what I love about Annalita's blog is that she does history, she does information, she does varied, it's ethnic spoon, because she'll do Moroccan, she'll do Turkish, she'll do Italian, she'll do Latin American. She's all over the world, and it's really exciting. So we just started talking, and I was like, oh, let's give you some recaps. And then they started using them. And now we try to do almost a recipe a month. We're slacking a little bit and lagging behind because of we don't have samples out yet. But these are a few examples. There's a rose hips tea. There's a mint julep. You can see the recap in the background. It's great because they're starting out. They could really use eyes on their site, so we can hopefully drive traffic to their site. For us, it's a great way to get some product and use images. Like we're always staging our, we're like, all right, let's take a picture of a cap. Let's take a picture of this. But we want to get more into like, what are people recapping? What are people doing? This was the first image. I think it's such a pretty, Tom took that, and I think it's such an amazing picture with the, it's horchata. Yeah, horchata. And he did they did everything with recap in it. So awesome partnership with them. And we work with a lot of bloggers. I highlighted Ethnic Spoon because they're Erie-based and they're friends, and I knew they would be here today. But bloggers are a great way for you to kind of co-market each other. So if you don't currently work with bloggers, but maybe your industry is jewelry, maybe your industry is, I don't know, throw something out. Any businesses, art or whatever, clothing, consignment, fitness. Find bloggers, local bloggers, national bloggers. There's tons of ways to find them. There's a lot of different tools as well to find them, even just searches. I reach out, I'll look up recipes, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'll just reach out to the blogger, and I'm like, I'm from Recap. We make caps. You did a mason jar recipe. Would you like one? And it goes from there. We've had a lot of success with that. So Community Alliance, oh, look who's at the center of attention in the picture. It's me. Community Alliance, Environment Erie, and Recap. So if you don't know about Environment Erie, they are a wonderful nonprofit organization in our community that aspires to make Erie a better place through education, through inspiring responsibility, environmental responsibility. So we, as Recap, we're a member of 1% for the Planet, which is essentially an organization that accepts people and businesses and products that are friendly and helpful to the environment. And through that membership, we donate 1% of annual sales to other members of 1% for the Planet. The only member, I think there might be a few new ones, but the only member in Erie that I know of at this point was, and especially a few months ago, was Environment Erie. So we're going to make a donation to them. And then since we were doing that, we also decided, hey, let's also partner up on events, and let's promote one another, and let's help one another. And then the general message of taking things to the next level with mason jars. So being creative and finding responsible uses for them. So just to recap, we never, ever, ever get sick of that pun. A true partnership has to be win-win. So identify your expectations. Don't go into it, blindly. Be clear about what you want out of it, what they want out of it. Initiate your dialogue, have it verbally, but put something in writing, whether it's an email or a formal contract, you're going to need something. Track, measure, improve the benefits. So right now with Classico, I have a lot of metrics and KPIs that I've gathered from our social media activity and our newsletter activity. They're probably not going to blow Classico away, but they can use that information then to talk to other members of their management within the organization so that they can then do other things. So it's important for them too. Be honest, transparent, and strategic, and that's my advice for life. Thank you.